in a village nestled between cliffs and sea, where houses huddled close, as if seeking solace from the ocean's ceaseless song. The people were a hardy lot. Generations of fishermen and sailors had taught them resilience, a virtue as necessary as the sun and moon in their sky. But even the toughest oak wearies when buffeted by storms. And so it was with the villagers of Ebentide. They were weary of the whispering sea. It lay just beyond the reef, a churning expanse of gray that mirrored the leaden skies above. Sailors who'd ventured out spoke of a chilling sight, a spectral sea where hope went to die. Every wave a sibilant whisper, each ripple bearing the ghost of a forgotten prayer. A wish relinquished, a dream surrendered. Nobody dared breach its borders. The sea was shunned as one might shun a grave. Yet a lone girl named Isla dreamt of sailing the whispering sea. She lived in a cottage, painted the color of sea foam, its roof sagging like a weary old man's shoulders. Her father, Captain Liam, had vanished years ago, on a voyage to lands unknown. All that remained of him was a worn leather journal, and a compass that hummed with a life of its own. It pointed always towards the whispering sea, an insistent pull that echoed the rhythm of Isla's own heart. One day, as Isla sat by the fire, the compass jumped into her palm, its needle spinning wildly. Then it stilled, pointing steadfastly towards the door. With a pounding heart, Isla did what generations of her kin had never dared. She stepped out, took a deep breath, untied the mooring ropes, and set sail. As the sea welcomed her, a cool spray on her face, and the wind whipping her hair into a frenzy, she steered towards the forbidden zone. The closer she got, the more the waves churned. Their whispers grew from murmurs to frantic shouts. "Don't go any further, child. Turn back while you can. The sea will swallow you whole. Your dreams will die here." Isla's grip tightened on the tiller. Her father's journal thumped against her chest like a second heartbeat. With each wave that crashed against the hull of her boat, her determination grew. "I will not be deterred," she whispered back at the waves. "I must reach the end of your song." The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of farewell, and the sea grew darker, its whispers turning into mocking laughter. The waves seemed to rise in amusement, eager to claim another soul for their spectral choir. But Isla held fast. Her small boat bucked and swayed, yet it did not break. And then, just as despair threatened to engulf her, a light pierced through the gloom. An island. Hope surged through her like a lifeline. Maybe the stories were wrong. Maybe dreams didn't die here. Maybe they simply changed. Steering towards the light, Isla saw more clearly now. Each wave bore the imprint of a face, a fleeting glimpse of a life once lived. And in that moment, she understood. This was not an island, but a graveyard of dreams, a place where hopes went to hide, to slumber, perhaps forever. The closer she got, the more distinct the faces became. A young girl's dream of becoming a healer was etched on a wave that crashed against the shore. A woodcarver's desire to travel the world was inscribed on another, but the dream that stirred within Isla was different. It was older, fainter, yet undeniably familiar. It was her father's dream, his longing to return home, to see her again. And then Isla saw him. Or, rather, she saw the shadow of him. He stood at the edge of the beach, his form wavering like heat haze on a summer's day. Relief flooded through her, chasing away the chill that had seeped into her bones. He was alive. Her father was alive. But as she reached the shore, the shadows stirred. Dozens of them rose, their forms solidifying, their eyes gleaming with a cold, ethereal light. They were the lost dreams of men, and they were angry. They surged towards her, tendrils of darkness reaching out to smother her, to drag her down into the depths of despair. Fear clawed at Isla's throat, threatening to drown her. She wanted to run, to hide, but her feet were routed to the spot. Just as the shadows closed in, Isla felt her father's presence beside her, his hand cool as the grave rested on her shoulder. Then he was gone, vanished into the horde of shadows, leaving Isla alone in the chilling silence. Suddenly, a memory surfaced, a story her father used to tell her about the creatures of the whispering sea. They feed on fear, little one. Courage is your shield against them. Taking a deep breath, Isla let the terror ebb away, replaced by a steely resolve. The shadows recoiled as if burned, their forms flickering, In that instant, Isla knew what she had to do. She raised her sail high, the red cloth a defiant splash of color against the monochrome landscape. The shadows surged again, this time with renewed vigor, their whispers growing louder, their forms solidifying. They wanted her to stay here, to join them in their silent vigil, but Isla would not comply. With a strength born of desperation, she pulled on the ropes, urging her boat into the churning water. The shadows reached out, grasping at the hem of her skirt, their icy fingers digging into her flesh. Pain shot through her, but she did not falter. She dug her heels into the floor of the boat, bracing herself against the relentless pull of the shadows. Behind her, the waves crashed, their whispers turning into screams. Above her, the sky crackled with an eerie green light, illuminating the tormented faces of the drowned hopes. Before her, the path back to the village seemed a mirage, shimmering just beyond her grasp. But Isla refused to yield. With a final surge, she broke free of the suffocating grasp of the shadows and turned the boat towards the faint glimmer of daylight. As the first rays of sun touched the horizon, Isla sailed out of the silent sea. The sky cleared, the birds returned to their song, and the sea fell still, as if mourning the passing of a nightmare. Back in the village, news of Isla's return spread like wildfire. People ran to the shore, their faces a mixture of disbelief and awe. For Isla, the hero of the day, they had one question. What did she see? What happened in the Forbidden Zone? Isla looked out at the sea, now calm and serene, its surface reflecting the clear blue sky. I saw the graveyard of dreams, she said softly, a place where hopes come to rest. She knew they wouldn't understand. How could they? Their dreams were still alive. They hadn't ventured into the abyss of the Whispering Sea. That night, as the villagers gathered around crackling fires, their voices hushed, their eyes turned inward, Isla noticed something strange. The sea was silent, no longer stealing their dreams, no longer whispering its chilling tales. Isla understood. The sea had been conquered, not by force, but by the quiet courage of a girl who dared to face her fears and rescue a piece of her father's lost dream. From that day on, the Whispering Sea became a lullaby, a gentle reminder of the power of courage and belief. And Isla, the girl who dared to sail the sea of silent dreams, became a legend, a guiding light for those who dared to dream big and face their fears head